The silent hunter stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport of the ESS Phantom. Captain Naomi Vega stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her sharp eyes scanning the darkness of space. Earth's newest and most advanced warship cut through, the void with barely a whisper, living up to its name. "Status report," Naomi said, her voice calm but commanding. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Ishida looked up from his console. "All systems optimal, Captain. We're approaching the edge of charted space now. This is where the colony vessels disappeared." Naomi nodded gravely. 8 ships gone in the last 4 months. No distress calls, no debris. Just vanished. The Phantom had been dispatched to find answers, but so far they had encountered only silence. "Professor Kamal, anything on your sensors?" Naomi asked. Professor Jahan Kamal, the ship's chief scientist, shook his head as his fingers danced across his screen. "Nothing unusual yet, Captain, though there's vast territory to cover. The quantum field detector is operating at maximum sensitivity." "Keep looking," Naomi ordered. She turned to her chief engineer. "Rodriguez, how's our stealth system performing?" Chief Engineer Olivia Rodriguez gave a thumbs up from her station. "Perfect, Captain. The gravimetric distortion field is stable. We're practically invisible to conventional detection methods." Naomi allowed herself a brief smile. The Phantom was truly a marvel of human engineering. Its weapons, shields, and stealth technology were years ahead of anything else in the fleet. If something was hunting colony ships in this region, they were prepared for it. "Captain," Marcus called suddenly, his voice sharp. "Sensors picking up multiple vessels approaching, configuration unknown." Naomi straightened. "Show me." The main screen flickered to life. A dozen ships, sleek, angular, and distinctly alien, moved, in perfect formation toward Earth territory. "First contact," Professor Kamal whispered, eyes wide with excitement. "Or first battle," Marcus countered, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Naomi raised a hand. "Hold. Let's see what they want first." The alien fleet halted just outside weapons range. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then a signal came through. "They're hailing us," Marcus reported. "Put them on," Naomi ordered. The screen changed to show a humanoid figure. It had pale violet skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond, pattern and ridged bone structures where ears would be on a human. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely, but the words came through clearly in English thanks to the ship's advanced translation system. "Greetings, Earth vessel. I am Fleet Commander Vrax of the Kral Dominion. You have entered space of significance to our people." Naomi stepped forward. "I am Captain Naomi Vega of the ESS Phantom. We are investigating the disappearance of several human ships in this region." The alien's expression remained unnervingly still. "We know of no disappeared vessels, but we would like to scan your ship. This is standard protocol when we encounter new species." Marcus muted the transmission. "Captain, I strongly advise against allowing that. They could gather tactical information." Rodriguez nodded in agreement. "Bad idea. Our stealth systems work passively, but a direct scan could reveal our defensive capabilities." Naomi considered for a moment. "Professor Kamal?" The scientist looked thoughtful. "It could be a genuine cultural practice, and we might learn something about their scanning technology in return." Naomi unmuted the transmission. "We will permit a basic scan, Commander Vrax, as a gesture of goodwill." "A wise decision," Vrax replied. Naomi turned to Rodriguez. "Activate Defense Protocol Epsilon 3. Rodriguez nodded and began typing rapidly. Protocol Epsilon 3 would allow the scan but feed back carefully selected information. Nothing classified would be revealed, but nothing obviously hidden either. It was a delicate balance. "Ready, Captain," Rodriguez reported. "You may begin your scan, Commander Vrax," Naomi said. A soft blue light washed over the bridge as the alien scan penetrated the ship. It lasted 30 seconds, then stopped. On the screen, Commander Vrax's expression changed dramatically. All 4 eyes widened, and his mouth opened slightly. For a moment he seemed unable to speak. "Is something wrong?" Naomi asked. Vrax snapped out of his shock. "No, Nothing is wrong. Scan complete. Thank you for your cooperation. Before Naomi could respond, the transmission cut off. The alien fleet immediately began to move away at high speed. They're running, Marcus said in disbelief. Naomi frowned. Why? What did they see? Rodriguez was checking her systems. Protocol Epsilon 3 worked perfectly. They shouldn't have seen anything particularly interesting. Professor Kamal was studying his readings. Captain, their scan was much more powerful than it appeared. It penetrated some of our defensive screens. How much did they see? Naomi demanded. I'm not certain, Professor Kamal admitted, but significantly, more than we intended. Marcus looked at Naomi. Orders, Captain. Naomi stared at the retreating alien fleet. Something about their reaction troubled her. Fear. That's what she had seen on Commander Vrax's face. But fear of what? Follow them, she decided. Keep your distance, but don't lose them. Aye, Captain, Marcus replied, setting the course. For 3 days, the Phantom followed the alien ships deeper into unknown space. The crawl fleet maintained their hurried pace, occasionally changing course, but never attempting to confront their pursuer. On the 4th day, they reached a densely packed star cluster. The crawl ships split up, heading for different worlds. Which one do we follow? Marcus asked. Naomi studied the sensor data. The largest one, Commander Vrax's ship. The Phantom shadowed Vrax's vessel to a large blue-green planet. The alien ship descended to the surface while the Phantom remained. In high orbit, scan the planet, Naomi ordered. Professor Kamal worked his instruments. Massive civilization, Captain. Cities covering entire continents. Technology level appears similar to ours, perhaps higher in some areas. Any signs they've detected us? Naomi asked. Marcus shook his head. None. Their orbital defenses haven't activated. Naomi turned to Rodriguez. I want the stealth systems at maximum. Let's see what's happening down there. Rodriguez nodded and got to work. Professor Kamal suddenly looked up from his console. Captain, I'm picking up unusual communications traffic, massive amounts of data being transmitted across the planet. Can you decode any of it? Naomi asked. Working on it, Professor Kamal replied. After several minutes, he looked up with a troubled expression. It's fragmentary, but I'm seeing references to human technology, unexpected capabilities, and something that translates roughly as existential threat. Naomi's eyes narrowed. They're afraid of us. But why? We didn't threaten them, Marcus said, puzzled. They saw something in our ship that scared them, Naomi replied. Something they didn't expect. Rodriguez grunted. Serves them right for looking where they shouldn't. Professor Kamal continued monitoring the communications. Captain, I believe they're calling some kind of emergency meeting. Important figures from across their territory are being summoned to the capital city. Naomi nodded slowly. So they scan us, get scared, and call a meeting of their leaders. She paused. Interesting. What's our next move? Marcus looked at her. Withdraw. Report. Back to Earth Command. Naomi thought for a moment. No. We stay and watch. We learn. And we prepare. She turned to look at her crew, a determined expression on her face. Something tells me this isn't over. The crawl ran today, but they won't run forever. Whatever they saw in us frightened them enough to retreat, Professor Kamal observed. But fear can lead to different responses. Like what? Marcus asked. Like trying to make friends with what you fear, Naomi said. Or trying to destroy it before it destroys you, Rodriguez added grimly. Naomi nodded. So we wait and see which path they choose. And either way, we'll be ready, Marcus said with conviction. In the Crawl capital city, Commander Vrax stood before the Supreme Council, his 4 hands trembling slightly as he prepared to show them what the scan had revealed about the human vessel. Information that had made him order an immediate retreat. Information that would change everything. The Supreme Leader entered, and the room fell silent. Show us, the leader commanded. Show us what has you so afraid of these humans. Vrax nodded and activated the display. The detailed scans of the ESS Phantom appeared, revealing secrets that would keep the Crawl leaders awake for many nights to come. The fatal mistake. The Grand Council chamber in the Crawl capital city of Varaxis fell silent as scan data of the human warship filled the massive holographic display. Supreme Leader Corva leaned forward on his ornate throne, his violet skin turning a shade paler. "This cannot be correct," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Commander Vrax stood tall despite his evident unease. "The scan was thorough, Supreme Leader. The data is accurate." Science Director Nylara moved closer to the display, her four eyes analyzing every detail. "The human vessel's power readings are extraordinary. Their shield technology operates on principles we've barely theorized. And their stealth capabilities." She shook her head in disbelief. "How?" Corva demanded. "We have conquered 8 species across this sector. None possess technology that approaches ours. These humans were unknown to us until now." Nylara pointed to a section of the scan. "Look here, their weapon systems utilize quantum entanglement in ways we've never even considered." She swiped to another image. "And here, their engine core. It's completely different from our approach, yet potentially more efficient." The council members murmured among themselves. For centuries, the Crawl Dominion had ruled through technological superiority. They had never encountered a species with potentially more advanced technology. Corva turned to Commander Vrax. "You fled from a single ship." Vrax straightened his shoulders. "Supreme Leader, our scans indicated that this single vessel could have potentially neutralized our entire fleet. Tactical retreat was the logical choice." "Logical, perhaps," Corva said coldly. "But now they know we exist, and they know we're afraid." He rose from his throne and walked to the window overlooking the capital city. Towers of gleaming metal stretched to the sky, a testament to Crawl achievement. 8 conquered worlds supplied resources and labor to make it all possible. "How did they advance so quickly?" Corva asked. "Our last intelligence from that sector showed primitive technology," Military Director Thrax noted. "That information is nearly 80 years old," Nylara pointed out. "We've been focused on consolidating our current territories." Corva nodded, slowly. "A mistake. One that could cost us everything." He turned back to face the council. "Show me the images of the human crew." The screen changed to show Captain Naomi Vega on the bridge of the Phantom. Additional images showed other crew members at their stations. "They look so ordinary," one council member commented. "That is what makes them dangerous," Corva replied. "They appear unremarkable, yet they have built something that threatens our entire civilization." Commander Vrax cleared his throat. "What are your orders, Supreme Leader?" Corva was silent for a long moment. "Are they still in orbit?" "Yes," Vrax confirmed. "Observing us. They believe we haven't detected them, but our deep space sensors can track their position." Corva smiled for the first time. "Good. At least we have that advantage." He paced the length of the chamber thinking. "We need time. Time to understand their technology. Time to develop countermeasures." "And if they attack?" Thrax asked. "They won't," Corva said confidently. "Not yet. They're curious. They want to know why we withdrew. We can use that curiosity." He turned to Nylara. "How long would you need to study their technology if you had full access to their ship?" The science director considered. "Months at minimum. Their approach is so fundamentally different from ours." Corva nodded. "Then we must gain that time." He faced the council. "We will extend the hand of friendship to these humans. Offer them trade, cultural exchange, scientific cooperation." Commander Vrax looked shocked. "Supreme Leader, are you suggesting an alliance with these humans?" "Of course not," Corva snapped. "It is merely a tactical maneuver. While our diplomats talk of peace and cooperation, our scientists will study their technology. Once we understand it, we can neutralize their advantage." Nylara appeared troubled. "Supreme Leader, what if we cannot match their technology quickly enough?" Korva's expression hardened. Then we must find other ways to defeat them. Every species has weaknesses. Perhaps humans rely too heavily on their technology. Perhaps they lack the will to use it effectively. We will find their weakness, and we will exploit it. He walked back to his throne and sat down. Prepare a diplomatic message. Invite the human ship to send representatives for discussions. Make it sound sincere. What if they refuse? Vrax asked. They won't, Korva said. They are curious, and curiosity is a dangerous weakness. They will come. Back on the Phantom, Professor Kamal was the first to notice the incoming transmission. Captain, we're receiving a message from the planet's surface. Naomi looked up from the report she was reviewing. Put it on screen. The face of Supreme Leader Korva appeared, his expression friendly and open. Greetings, Captain Vega of Earth. I am Supreme Leader Korva of the Kral Dominion. I wish to apologize for Commander Vrax's abrupt departure during our first meeting. There was a misunderstanding. Naomi's expression revealed nothing. No apology needed, Supreme Leader. We were simply concerned when your ships left so suddenly. Korva smiled. A regrettable error in protocol. We would like to make amends by inviting you to a diplomatic meeting, a chance for our peoples to learn about each other. Marcus, standing next to Naomi, whispered, I don't trust this. Naomi gave a slight nod to show she heard him. To Korva, she said, that's a generous offer. Where would this meeting take place? There is a space station called Junction Point in a nearby system. It is neutral territory used by various species for trade and diplomacy. Would that be acceptable? Naomi pretended to consider. It could be. I would need to consult with my superiors. Korva's smile didn't waver. Of course. Take all the time you need. We are eager to establish friendly relations with Earth. After the transmission ended, Naomi turned to her crew. Thoughts? Rodriguez spoke first. Trap. Marcus nodded in agreement. Definitely. They were terrified of us yesterday. Now they want to be friends. I don't buy it. Professor Kamal looked thoughtful. It could be genuine. Perhaps they realized their initial fear was exaggerated. Naomi walked to the viewport, looking down at the alien world. No, Marcus and Rodriguez are right. This is a trap, but not the kind we might expect. What do you mean? Marcus asked. They're not planning to attack us at this meeting, Naomi explained. They want to study us, learn about our technology, find our weaknesses. Professor Kamal nodded slowly. That makes sense. From what we've observed, the Kral based their entire civilization on technological superiority. Our ship frightened them because it suggested we might be more advanced. So what do we do? Marcus asked. Refuse the meeting? Naomi turned back to face them, a small smile forming on her lips. No. We accept. Rodriguez looked surprised. Why? Because it works both ways, Naomi said. While they're studying us, we'll be studying them, and we have an advantage they don't know about. What's that? Professor Kamal asked. Naomi's smile grew wider. They only think they detected us in orbit. They don't know about the stealth shuttle that landed on the far side of their planet 12 hours ago. Marcus's eyes widened. You sent a team to the surface when? While you were all off duty, Naomi said. A small team, hand-picked. They're gathering intelligence even as we speak. That's why you seemed so calm about being detected, Professor Kamal realized. Naomi nodded. The Kral think they're one step ahead of us. Let's keep them thinking that. She turned to Marcus. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them everything we've learned and our plan to accept the diplomatic meeting. And the shuttle team? Marcus asked. They'll continue their mission and meet us at Junction Point, Naomi said. By then we should know much more about what we're dealing with. Rodriguez nodded with grudging approval. Clever. Let's just hope it's clever enough, Naomi said, her expression turning serious again. Because something tells me the Kral didn't build their empire by playing nice. On the planet below, Supreme Leader Korva watched the human warship with calculating eyes. They will accept, he told Commander Vrax. And when they do, their fate will be sealed. Little did he know that at that very moment human eyes were watching him from much closer than he could imagine. Junction Point Space Station hung in the darkness like a giant metallic flower, its petals formed by docking arms where ships from different worlds connected. At one arm, the ESS Phantom waited. At the opposite end, the Kral diplomatic vessel had arrived 3 days earlier. Diplomatic envoy Talia Winters adjusted her formal uniform as she prepared to meet the Kral representatives. Captain Naomi Vega stood nearby, watching the envoy with careful eyes. "Remember," Naomi said quietly, "they want something from us. Don't be too eager to give it." Talia nodded. She was an experienced diplomat with silver-streaked black hair and perceptive eyes. "This isn't my first dance with aliens who have hidden motives, Captain." Security Chief Dominic Walsh checked his tablet one more time. "My team is in position throughout the station. If the Kral try anything, we'll know." The door to the meeting room slid open. 3 Kral entered, led by a tall figure in flowing robes.